Hello and welcome everybody, it's that time again for some spicy speculation. Once again looking at Imani, the new champion coming to Paladins, likely in patch 1.9, although that's not definite. Seems like we are due one very shortly, as Dredge was quite a few patches ago, but it might be 2.02. However, let's just dive into it. And this particular speculation comes from a video of a data mine from Kyojin or Aaron Kyojin on YouTube, and you can see the link to that data mine in the comment section below, but I also have the footage here, but worth checking them out, and thank you very much for them for messaging me on Discord and also giving us this data mine. I've had a little chat with them as well, trying to figure out what the abilities were after they got it up and running. If you have any spicy speculations as I'm speculating, be sure to put it in the comment section below as we go through this video. As always, this is a work in progress data mine, and everything you see here may not be final. The abilities may change and we might get something completely different in the actual live version. However, the past two times a champion has been on the abilities shown in the test server in this way, they have been almost identical when they have been released, so take everything with a pinch of salt, but they probably are going to have a lot of what you're going to see today when they come live. Anyway, so let's dive straight into it. So first of all, this is pretty much a fire/ice ability user. Now, they were codenamed Mage before, and even in this data mine, they were able to see the champion list and all the abilities were listed as a mage, so likely a magic user. And so two things to note is that the Q is how you switch between the two modes, the ice mode and the fire mode, and also that there is a mana bar on the center of the screen. How the mana works is that with the weapon shots, you charge the fire, you charge it by hitting people, and basically you get an extra shot with your fireballs if you have a full mana. Once you fire your fireball out, you basically get a double fireball, or frostbolt type thing. So first of all, let's look on to the ice mode before we go back into the fire mode. Just thought I'd talk about those two mechanics, as they aren't necessarily explained throughout the rest of the kit. The ice type attack, which looks a bit like a frostbolt, doesn't seem to have an AoE damage. It's actually listed as direct damage in the weapon sheet. The same with the fireball, the alternate direct shot. You also have to pull back the shot like a Shaolin arrow. You have to charge it fully. At the max, the frostbolt does 700 damage. Now, this is lower than the firebolt, which we'll talk in a moment. Why? I wonder whether this also slows or if it has any other properties to it, although we can't see it right now, or just because this mode isn't as aggressive as the fire mode. But you can see that the projectile itself is also rather large and almost looks like an AoE blast in the way that it interacts with scenery. And I don't think there's damage drop off. It's more to do with the damage that you are putting out with your either charged or unfully charged shot. It's like drastically lower, like Shaolin's bow. The right click or the secondary fire on the ice mode fires out a big ice projectile that floats through the air in sort of an arc, and you could either detonate it whilst it is actually in the air, or it can basically just drop down and explode once it gets into contact with either a player or I think the ground. It seems that it is that way. The AoE on it seems to be huge, like almost the size of a grumpy bomb, and it does 300 damage to enemies that it hits. It also puts a status effect on the enemies, which is a root, which is actually pretty crazy. So this is going to root people in place. Not quite the same as a grumpy bomb in the stun, but obviously like it's working more like it now. And actually that's going to be rather big with this character. This is their crowd control element and will allow them to do some pretty crazy damage whilst enemies are stuck in place. But yeah, it seems to work a bit like a grumpy bomb in the size of the explosion, or just it's not detonated, it just sort of floats through the air until you detonate it. Okay, moving on to the fire mode. So as a fire mage, you fire out fireballs, or something that looks like a fireball anyway, some sort of fire magic as a projectile. It works a bit like a Shaolin bow. You have to charge it up to fire it, and the more you charge it up, the more damage you do, up to 1,000 damage. It does scale back quite a bit, although it doesn't seem that there's any drop compared to the Shaolin, where if you have a lower powered arrow, it will have more of an arc and more of a drop. It doesn't actually seem to be the case here. It seems to just travel at its own speed no matter what. It's not the fastest projectile in the game, but doesn't look too slow either. Seems to be something similar to a Shaolin arrow perhaps. Now this is where the mana comes in. If you get full mana, it'll fire out a free shot for free and hit the enemy with that. But you don't have to charge this shot up. The lowest it can do is almost like 110 damage at distance with the fireball if you don't charge it up at all. Seems around 100. Then there is also a beam. So this is your right fire button. This beam seems really pretty insane. I think it seems to lock you into place as you float around. You still can move, but it seems to be very limited in what you can move. So I'm guessing that as a mage, you sort of float up into the air and then are stuck there whilst using this fire beam. And you can place it onto enemies, and it does like a stream of damage, something like a Victor Fire would, into the enemies that you are aiming at. Think of like a channeled Genos ultimate, but not quite that powerful. But it does actually seem to do a lot of damage. It's like 130 per tick. Seems to be like anywhere up to 2k damage. I mean, the actual DPS maybe works out, maybe not too crazy. Maybe it is something similar to the Victor damage, although it does seem like a lot. It lasts for a few seconds and doesn't have a crazy cooldown. It's like 8 seconds once the ability is over. The escape ability does seem to be broken. Basically, it drags you under the floor in the training area. This actually happened with Ash's shoulder bash when she was first data mined, and we could see her abilities in the same way in this sort of footage where we can't see the actual champion, we can't see what's actually going on with them, but we can see sort of what they can do. And before, they got stuck in the ground when they shoulder bashed, and I think when they ultied as well. So I think if it changes your vertical ability, I don't know exactly, but some of the abilities seem to do get broken, and usually they are mobility based ones. So this sort of makes sense here. So in the data mining, it was sort of speculated that it was some sort of like dragon ride, like you got on a dragon and rode it around whilst you were much faster. And it does seem to be the case. There is like a timer whilst you're on the F, although do you get knocked off the mount if you get hit? Is it a bit like a mount in the game to get a temporary mount, this dragon to run around with? This particular mounting you can't attack with, so I'm guessing that it could be like Maeve's Prowl, where you're faster whilst you're prowling and you can jump around and you basically have a bigger jump and stuff like that. However, once you fire, you come out of it. I mean, most likely be during this ability, as it is a test. There is also the Big Bada Boom, the ultimate, where it was sort of speculated that you either became a dragon or summoned a dragon. However, this particular ultimate looks like you have a attack linked to this transformation into something with 7,500 health points. So I'm guessing it's something along the lines of a Makoa ultimate. And the icon is the Fernando Flame Lance. So could it be that you are a fire-breathing dragon that sort of just basically has fire breath, sort of stomping around in the map, attacking enemies as a huge dragon? That would be my first guess, although we don't really know what the mobility is, because the mobility skill is also broken, so you're underground. So can you fly around as this dragon and have this fire breath? Are you stationary on the ground? Are you just like a Makoa's ultimate, where you just become like enraged as a dragon? I mean, there's a bit of questions here whether or not the champion itself is perhaps sort of a half fire, half ice dragon, sort of half humanoid sort of character that's also a mage, and perhaps they just channel their inner dragon and become sort of more of a fully formed dragon rather than a half dragon, half human. Actually, hi-rez the Lizard joked a few days ago that the next champion was going to be 50% lizard man and 50% shark, 100% awesome. However, could the shark part, could this ice part of the mage be the shark part, and the 50% be the dragon part with the fire? I mean, that's extremely spicy speculation, but interesting that she said that. And you know, often truth is contained in jest, as the old Chinese proverb goes. So that's an interesting snippet there. What does everybody else think about what the ultimate is going to be? I personally think that it doesn't seem like you actually summon anything. In the current form, it seems like you are stomping around as this big dragon or whatever this big buff thing is, with just a locked out abilities and only one ability. Unless you leave your body alone and your like character becomes a bot and then you become the dragon? Who knows? That could be the other option. Anyway, that's pretty much Imani as we know so far and all the abilities they have going forwards. And again, thank you very much to Aaron Kyojin for the Imani footage and the data mine, and that's pretty awesome there. The same person also data mined a Maeve work in progress skin, although who knows what that is. It's just literally a weapon skin for Maeve. It could be some hi-rez knives, who knows, something that would be rather interesting. I think probably some of the coolest weapons in the game, actually, the two knives of Maeve, so a standalone knife skin would actually be rather welcome, I think. Anyway, that's pretty much it from the spoilers today. If you have anything to say, be sure to put it in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe for more of my content, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching, folks. Joshino.